Welcome everyone to this sectional meeting, and I'm going to let the stage to someone else today. Wang Rui, Director of Konfuciusz Institute at Szeged University, is going to give a presentation today, and the title of the presentation is How to Teach Chinese More Effectively. The stage is yours. We are listening to your lecture today.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So, Stock, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session, this afternoon session on how to teach Chinese more effectively. As I believe it's Carolina who has just informed you. My name is Wang Rui, and I'm going to be your moderator today. I'm honored to be your moderator today. So I can tell on my end, we have 29 participants online. So I'm assuming we have teachers and students, maybe scholars participating and joining us today from online. So if it's convenient for you to type, maybe you can tell us if you're a teacher, you can type 1. If you're a student, you can type 2. And if you are coming from a third group, you can type 3 so that we can have some kind of interaction from online. So again, feel free to talk to us by sending us messages in the chat box. Type 1 if you're a teacher, type 2 if you're a student, and 3 if it's like others. And also, I'm thinking that maybe you can share with us your favorite Chinese character. For the participants from online, you can type your favorite Chinese character in the chat box. Oh, thank you for, I see lots of teachers, fellow teachers. I'm a teacher myself. So yes, nice. Thank you very much for being so responsive. And on the site, we are happy to have teachers and guests with us. So I'm very honored to introduce to you everyone. First, I'd like to introduce to you Professor Jin Lixin from Shanghai International Studies University. Jin 老师和大家打个招呼哦。That's our renowned Professor Jin Lixin. Okay, so I'll briefly introduce Professor Jin. Professor Jin is a linguist. He had published profusely. If I'm not mistaken, you have published 5 monographs and 150 plus. I Baidu'd you, so I Googled you. So you have published 150 plus journal articles. Wow, you were writing all the time. So we're very lucky to have you with us today. Thank you very much. Can we send a big virtual applause to Professor Jin? Thank you all very much. I've asked Professor Jin to join us and share with us what he thinks about Chinese language education, and also give some critical and positive feedback to the 3 young teachers here. Okay, and also with us on site, we have the 3 teachers you might have seen already in the teaching videos. So I'll just introduce these teachers very briefly. Maybe we could just say hi. So, Ms. Lü Yan, Ani, say hi. Okay, and Ani taught about, I remembered it's sports, right? You taught the students about sports. Okay, we'll get back to your video later on. And also we had Di Peng Dia. Say hi to everyone. Hi. Dia was teaching high school students in a video. Thank you very much, Dia. And we also have Liu Yuping. She was teaching second graders. Yeah, and about animals and body parts and lots of lovely kids. Thank you all very much. We have teachers from I believe Eötvös High School. So I haven't met you. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you in person, but I guess we're going to see each other soon. So thank you all very much for joining us this afternoon. And so the plan is simple. So we're going to do 2 tasks. The first one is to revisit the 3 teachers' teaching videos And Professor Jin will share with us what he thinks. We would like to invite Professor Jin to comment on those videos and the young teachers to respond to the comments. So that's task number 1. And then I would like to open the floor to everyone. So please, our online participants, please feel very free to share with us your questions and comments in the chat box. And you can also just use your microphone and share with us what you think. And if you have any questions, you want to raise a question for discussion, feel very free to do so. So, and then we just get started. So the first part, Professor Jin, please. So would you please share with us what you think about the teaching videos, the merits or demerits? 那我们金老师，欢迎您用汉语、英语都可以和大家分享一下您对这个教学视频的就是观察以及建议，非常感谢。
Thank you. This conference name Chinese Language Day 2023, but I normally speak Chinese language, so I trusted to speak Chinese. Okay.
Sure.
3位老师玉萍，还有吕燕，还有3位老师的视频，他们在教学中都非常活跃，和学生的互动很积极。我觉得他们的教学效果非常好，教学效果非常好。好像王燕讲的视频断了。王燕讲的视频断了。我们这边继续，不一定是我们的网卡。OK。他们花很多时间准备课堂的教学的材料，还有做很漂亮的 PPT， 然后在课堂上和学生的互动非常好 ，students and peers each other 非常好的活动，而且我觉得教学效果很不错，差不多都完成了教学的任务。非常特别的任务。我为有这么好的年轻教师的教学感到很高兴。
Thank you very much, Professor Jin. Thank you for a very positive and supportive comment on the teachers. I'll just briefly summarize your comment for the online participants who happen not to speak Chinese. So Professor Jin gave again, a very positive comment on the teachers' teaching performance. And he believed that all the teachers have reached their teaching objectives. Also, the videos feature very active classrooms in which there's a lot of interaction between the teacher and students, very lively classrooms. We can tell from the videos that teachers must have spent a lot of time planning the class and designing very innovative activities and pretty PowerPoints. So yes, I felt the same way, Professor Jin. When I was watching the videos, I felt like I really want to be sitting there among the students in the classroom learning from these teachers, because it's looks like very happy experiences learning Chinese. And as we are teachers and we have been students, we all know it's really important to have very positive learning experience. When we learn happily, we learn better. So thank you all very much. I actually, yes, please, Jin老師.
I have some suggest. 有一点点建议，
Yeah, sure. We need feedback. Yeah.
如果我们3位老师在课堂上语速speech slow 如果更慢一点 or slowly 效果会更好 每一个字每一个音节syllable 词如果能够更清楚clear 如果更清楚更慢一点效果会更好，这是一个建议。第二个建议呢，就是课堂语言 class language the teacher's class language 教师的课堂语言尽量用学生学过的词汇如果我们的课堂语言中的词汇或者语法学生没有学过的话，那么学生不知道，其实听不懂老师在说什么。所以一个有经验的老师，他知道学生的词汇量，所以尽量用学生学过的词汇来表达，用作为课堂语言。然后学生在课堂上通过老师的课堂语言也会习得看语，所以课堂语言本身可以让学生的语言能力进步。That's all.
Thank you very much. Those are very important and also very practical suggestions that we can follow in future teachings. So thank you very much. Again, a quick summary. Professor Jin suggested that the teachers can moderate their speech rate, so they can slow down a bit and enunciate the syllables. So the students can understand better and learn better. And the second suggestion is that about teacher talk, that as we all know, teacher talk is a very important source of input for the learners. So the teachers preferably using words that the students have previously learned and acquired. So that will help the students better. Given that, Professor Jin, may I ask you something? I'm thinking that, do you think the teachers will be under a lot of pressure about what we call in Chinese, we call it 进度, 老师要赶进度. So maybe we can ask teachers, actually. I'm curious. I don't know, but I'm really curious. So for example, Dia, are you under a lot of pressure about how much you must cover in one session?
Kind of, because I need to follow my plan, my teaching plan. But actually, I feel the support teacher can help me to handle the situation. So I think until now, I feel it's okay. But I think the students go to maybe 11 grades or 12 grades, they are going to graduate. On that year, maybe they will have this kind of problem. Maybe they cannot reach HSK 3. Maybe they are rebuilding HSK 2. Maybe they want to learn HSK 4. They miss this kind of situation. But until now, and between 9th graders, they have no this kind of problem.
Okay, thank you very much. I think in your teaching video, I remember you gave your students some written assignments, right? So Professor Jin, what do you think? Giving the students written assignments, do you think that's like some luxury for teachers to do? 这个在课堂上让同学写东西，这个很奢侈哎。所以我们作为老师，怎么去这个决定说我什么时候让学生在课堂上写，是不是所有的 written assignments 都应该放到课后再说？我自己在教学，我是英语教师，我也经常是课上比较少让学生现场就写，我会觉得哎呀舍不得这个时间。所以金老师，您觉得这个他该怎样？就是我们的老师们该怎样去平衡这件事情？一个是 the pressure of 进度 and the other is you really want to see the students writing something. Yeah.
课堂的时间非常宝贵。我们作为语言训练的课，尽量让老师和同学。老师让学生在课堂上多 口语训练，更多的时间花费在对学生的语言的训练上，课堂时间。书写的作业，如果可能的话，那么做课后作业可能会更好。那课堂上什么时候有书写的作业呢？比如说，我们学一个生字，这个生字是汉字，这个字本身是一个教学任务。那么我们老师可以在板书的时候，让学生跟老师一起练笔画和笔顺。For example， 比如说老、横、竖、横、撇、竖、折、横，让学生一起跟老师用学生的手跟老师一起在空中这样书写。这个需要在课堂上训练，课后没有办法训练。但是具体的书写作业，让学生回家，让学生课后来训练，这是我的建议。
Thank you so much. Dia, how do you feel about that?
Should the answer in English or Chinese?
都可以。我们是 bilingual, trilingual, international.
我觉得金教授这个建议非常的好，就是因为这个课一开始是在讲生词，所以我觉得就一开始让他们有一个作业，这上面是有笔顺的，总是让学生先把笔顺去练一遍，然后下课之后他们将会去完成这个作业。所以我觉得也非常的合理。
Yeah， 我也感觉到，如果在就刚才金老师跟我们讲那个 air write 是吧，在空中写那种 air write 的感觉，就是像课堂气氛也能比较好，就会 if we use it sparsely we use it appropriately, not too much, that's not going to take too much of our classroom hours, but it's going to be more fun maybe. In my teaching experience, sometimes I think it's important to bring back the written assignments to the classroom, doing the feedback, in the face of everyone. So they do the writing at home, but what they have written needs to be reviewed together. So, for example, I would explain to the students why this word is better than the other, what's wrong with the sentence structure. So if we do the kind of, I don't know, I think there should be a term for that. It's like everybody reviewing the thing together. And then students normally would report and learned a lot from that kind of public review. So, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Jin and Dia, for your responses. Okay, so again, back to, so the two suggestions for the teachers are, the first one is about how fast we go when we do teacher talk. And the second one is what kind of language do we actually use when doing teacher talk. Again, teacher talk is a very important issue in designing classroom activities. It's hard. So, okay, thank you. So everyone, I'd like to invite questions from our participants from online. Anyone having any questions or comments for the teachers? Feel free to leave us messages and we'll get back to you at any time. Okay, thank you very much. So, so that's our first task, mission accomplished. Now we can move on to the second part, which is more like an interview. I'm going to ask the teachers questions, and I'm hoping that maybe you have accumulated questions about your teaching, so you can ask each other questions. Shall we do that? So I can give some questions as a kickstart. Because this activity, the conference we're having today is the World Chinese Language Day celebration, part of the celebration. So I'd like to ask a question about the Chinese language, our native language, Chinese. So I understand, for example, Hungarian, and Chinese are two very different languages. And the Chinese is often considered as very hard to learn because it's so different. It's coming from a different language family. So do you like to share with us in what ways do you think Chinese is unique? Is Chinese so different from the other languages? And I liked, if our online participants, if it's convenient for you, would love to hear from you too about this. How did you like Chinese? In what ways do you think Chinese is so different? So I'd like to go to Professor Jin first, because you are a linguist. So you are the expert in understanding Chinese as a technical existence. 就是汉语这种技术层面来看，汉语为什么它是一个非常不一样的语言呢？您感觉它和其他的语言，尤其是您在韩国、日本都有过非常长很多年的这个教学经历，我觉得您就是个世界语言的一个亲身体验者，所以您觉得汉语，可以给我们举个例子吗？就是汉语很不一样的地方。I'm asking, for example, from Professor Jin about Chinese being very special in some way. 金老师。
Chinese is very special. So, for example, we according to world order, the language in the world can be two types. Two types are object before verb and object after verb. OV, object, O, verb, verb, object, verb. For example, Japanese, Korean, Turkish. And VO language, for example, English, German, French. But Chinese is OV language or VO language. You see?
Yeah.
VO language or OV language. Maybe you think Chinese is VO language, but if Chinese VO language, V is this VP verb phrase. Verb phrase V is head. The object likes modifier. Object after the verb is right branch. Right branch. The modifier follow after the head. 修饰语在核心的后面。For example, English. For example, a student of physics with long hair. 一位物理专业的长头发的学生。那 this English is a student is head of physics. The modifier 1 with long hair, modifier 2. So hair, not hair of physics with long hair. So modifier after the head. This is VO language. But OV language like Japanese or Korean. This not the head. Modifier before the head. For example, Chinese marks OV language.
Okay.
一位长头发的物理专业的学生。那学生 student, but of physics 或物理专业，长头发 长头发 with long hair. But you like this head, not head. The physics, 物理专业 with long hair, 长头发. So Chinese as an OV language, but normally when you say Chinese, 吃饭 eat rice, or 吃饭 饭 is object, 吃 is eat, is verb object. It's right branch. But the modifier likes Japanese or Korean, the OV language. So it's special.
Okay. So even though I have spoken English I meant Chinese for so many years, but I rarely approach my mother language in a theoretical way as you are doing. So I'm starting to feel like I should study Chinese even deeper and understanding all its mysteries. Thank you very much, Professor Jin. And I'd like to ask the three teachers and all the online participants, if you have any example, feel very free to share with us. So in your teaching, have you experienced something like the student, because their mother language, Hungarian, is so different from Chinese, and they are having some fun experiences with when they're learning a language. I think we call it negative transfer, 就是那个母语的负迁移的感觉，就他可能犯的一个语言错误，可能是一个母语的影响。So do you happen to have, because you've been teaching Chinese for some years, so do you happen to know anyone having made a mistake because of their mother language influence? You have a fun story to share?
Because I just teach the primary school students, basically we learn vocabularies. So we are in not grammatically, so just the vocabulary, the word. It's like a this opinion. It's very special in Chinese, right? So they don't have that similar pronunciations in Hungarian. So GTC is tough, it's difficult for the kids to learn pronunciate. And it's like 你几岁 if and 你7岁. So they cannot tell. At first I didn't realize. I was thinking, oh, I think it's not difficult, it's simple sentence, right? But then my support teacher reminded me that they might confuse the 几 with 7. So it's a 7 and how many? So maybe in our way of thinking is quite different. How can you confuse them together? But actually, in their way of thinking, it's quite similar. So 几 is and 7, right? That's my funny experience.
Thank you very much, Annie. I totally can imagine the picture. Yes, sometimes the students would confuse something that we totally cannot see unless we know the regional or cultural differences. Yeah, I'm thinking about even inside China, when we talk about Southern Chinese people, they tend to confuse le and ne, right? So that kind of regional differences and pronunciation habits would play a big part when they are acquiring pronunciation skills. Yes. So if we teachers can collect all these tips and strategies, and then we can help fellow teachers better teach. We can teach more effectively. Thank you so much for the sharing. I'm sure you have many more stories to share with us. And we'd like to hear all those stories at another occasion, maybe. Thank you very much, Annie. So the first question I was inviting comments on was the uniqueness of Chinese and its impact and its implications on Chinese teaching. This is a big topic, but I think we're getting like a hang of it. So, okay, so let's move on to another question that I was thinking about, because Annie, when you were sharing the story, I was thinking that maybe to better teach Hungarian children Chinese or Hungarian students Chinese, if we can know more about the Hungarian language, it's certainly helpful, right? Unfortunately, we do not know as much Hungarian as we would want to, but we have big helps coming from our Hungarian teachers, co-teachers. So my second question would be about how we can better work with our local Hungarian teachers so that we can teach more effectively. I can tell from the videos, the teachers are being very helpful. So would you share a little bit about what you think on this topic, or share the stories you had working together with your local teachers, your partners?
Okay, so maybe I can share the things between me and my support teachers. So I really appreciate my support teachers when I was planning the video lesson, because I shared my lesson plan to her and she gave me some good advice. Yeah, and she gave me some good advice to help me to make the class better. Not only the teaching part, but also my language. The language I'm going to use in the class. She gave me some suggestions, and that's really helpful. That's why in my class, the students can understand me, even though I only speak Chinese, but they can understand me very well. So that's the point. So I think we should value our support teachers' experience. They already been a teacher for so many years. They have so much teaching experience, and they know their students better, so they can tell us what's the characteristics or personalities of the students, which can help us to teach our kids better. Yeah, that's it. Thank you
very much, Nora. Thank you very much. I was trying to find out the name of your support teacher. Okay, Bamo. Yes, I can tell that you have developed some kind of, in Chinese, we call it 默契.
Yeah.
Maybe you can type the two words in the chat box so that our online participants can see the word. Yeah, in Chinese, we call it 默契. In English, I think they call it tacit agreement. And somehow you just know what each other need for the moment. And actually, I don't know if this is workable, but let me try this. I think I have it somewhere. Yes, let me try to play this part. This is the beginning part of Nora, your video. And I noted an interesting moment. I'll play first. See if it works. Is it playing? Yeah, it is. 大家可以看到这个视频在变化吗？往后拽一拽。呀，这刚开始，对的。So Nora, you are saying something.
上课，老师，同学们好，同学们好。那我们今天mai órán át fogjuk ismételni a testrészeket és az állatokat.
Okay, this is a very interesting moment because it seems like there was some technical hiccup with the computer up there. 就好像你当时是不是那个电脑有点什么问题，屏幕有点什么问题吗？然后你就停止的说话，然后你的这 support teacher 马上就过来啊，讲了很多，然后好像这个课堂就正常的进行下去。所以我很好奇这位老师讲了什么。我们这个我们可以请的是 Carolina 吗？就是我们现在教室里的两位Hungarian teachers. Could you help us? What did the teacher say in the video?
So today in this lesson, we have a revision on one part.
Yeah, the Téma translated what I said. So today we are going to review what we have learned, like the part of our body. Yeah.
So she knows your plan. She knows your teaching plan.
Yeah.
And
这个
also
这个苏佳丽老师，他知道学生没听懂你的课堂里面指令，
他知道，他其实
学生知道学生没有听懂，
对对对，
所以他说你的开头那个，那今天我们这几个词学生可能听不懂，
对，
而且说的很快，
是的，
所以如果慢一点，我们今天 maybe 学生可能听懂。这个老师很有经验，他知道你的课堂指令学生可能
听不懂，
所以他介入。
对
OK。
好，谢谢。
哇，这个真的是越听大家讲课，就越觉得这个讲会汉语和会教汉语是两件事情。就是对，这位老师他是 she has perfect time。
我插一段，就刚这个老师把握学生的词量非常重要。我在中国和韩国的时候，常常做这种翻译，把汉语翻译为汉语。一个外国人，他说的汉语，这个外国人听不懂，然后我把他的汉语再说一遍，他听懂了。Why？ 所以老师的对学生掌握多少词量，这个非常重要。就是老师对学生的把握掌握。
Okay, thank you very much. Professor Jin, I think that's actually a challenge for international Chinese education in that sometimes our teachers, like we have, Nora is an international Chinese teacher, which means that you can work here for 2 years and students can learn from you for 2 years, which is a very good thing. They can, you get to know your children and so you keep on knowing what they have learned and what's they're going to learn. And for volunteer teachers, very often it's just 1 year. So this is a very special challenge that we do not really have back in China if I'm teaching English. So I start to see, even though we are also like teaching foreign languages, it's actually very different. And the whole system is different. And then we need to develop corresponding strategies. 这个是国际中文教育中，我觉得是一个我们一定要去面对的一个困难。它一个特殊性，但是呢，也就会衍生出特殊的策略来。所以和这个当地老师密切合作真的很重要。Yeah, as Nora has said, the teachers, they really know the children better, and they are also very experienced, very competent teachers. Yes. Okay, and also I noticed in one of the videos, I think it's Annie, your video, you also had a beautiful support teacher, and you actually asked for her help. So did you have, like, before the class, you actually told her that you're going to do this activity, this game, and you want her to explain the things before the class, I guess? Did you ask her?
It's much easier for the students to understand if it's explained the rules by the support teacher, the co-teacher. So before this class, we had some discussion about the whole procedure of the whole class.
Yeah. So again, I think that means the support teacher will give this Chinese class more time, more energy, because she's not just there in the classroom for the 45 minutes. She has to spend some extra time communicating with the Chinese teacher. And again, the Chinese teacher will need to spend more time communicating with the Hungarian teacher, but it worked perfectly in class. So as you said, I think it saves a lot of time. If you're explaining the thing, it's barely possible for younger children. So yes, I think that's a very, very smart and efficient way. So I was thinking how we can collaborate with local teachers is something we can keep exploring. And it's really beautiful to see two teachers working together, bringing about a very lively, effective class. Yes. And things are a little bit different for Dia, because in your class, you relied heavily on English. I personally, I like that. I mean, if the students know a lot of languages and you can use a lot of languages to help learning yet another language, I think it's good. But how do you personally think of that? You actually, I think you told me sometime earlier, you said that you think you shouldn't be using that much English. Why did you think that way?
Yeah, well, I think, for my opinion, for beginners, sometimes it's very useful to use English because it kind of scaffolding feedback to students to help them to generate a Chinese answer. But I hope after HSK2, after students already learned lots of Chinese vocabularies, I will minus English use. Try to explain the Chinese word by Chinese, like HSK 1 level Chinese to explain HSK 2 level Chinese. And because of the students are quite senior, so I feel happy that they can understand what I'm speaking in the classroom, but I'm still trying to use this English in my classroom.
Okay, thank you very much, Dia, for sharing with us what you think. Okay, so up to now, we were thinking about Chinese being a very different language. So we need to localize our teaching of the language in some way. And we have covered two aspects. One is about fully understanding the specialness of Chinese, its difference from the Hungarian language, and being careful about negative transfer, etc. And the other one was the one which was actually my favorite topic, about how we can work together. We can form a team, a meaningful, productive team with the local teachers. Thank you all very much. I'm not sure how much time we have, but if we have to go back to the plenary session, I think we have 7 more minutes. So let's push this a little bit. The next question is, Dia, maybe you can talk to us about this one. In your, I see you grouping the students in class. So you said you were giving them different assignments in class. And in Chinese, we call it 差异化教学. Again, 差异化教学, differentiation when it comes to teaching the same population with different learning needs. So what kind of, I'm curious, so what assignments did you give? What assignments for whom? So very briefly, would you share with us about that?
Actually, because in my classroom, the level of student language are not the same. So some of the students, they can recognize Chinese characters, just Chinese characters with PE. But some other students, maybe they can just understand PE. So for the students' assignments, I offer them one version is like with PE and another version is PE to help them to do the different kinds of assignments. And I also group the students in a classroom, and I give students more autonomous atmosphere that they can select their own partner and they can work together and go to a different group. I give them different kinds of feedback. So this is during the instruction, I give them different kinds of feedback. Like some students, I just help them with their generation of the Chinese sentence, try to help them to speak the Chinese sentence, but some other students, I just help them to pronunciation. And also I try to group students in the different language levels that can help each other and do some like peer assessment. And also I ask them to do some self-assessment. Let them think about if you know this word, okay, you know this word, and can you use it? When can you use it? Or can you teach it to other students? So that's try the like teaching strategies in my classroom, but I think I will do more, maybe do more thing about that.
Thank you very much, Dia. That's very thoughtful. I think this is just like what Professor Jin had earlier said. Just watching the videos, we know the teachers must have spent so much thought into it. trying to meet different needs and designing appropriate activities。像金老师之前说的啊，真的是这个老师们要很花心思的啊。小小一堂课，就是课上10分钟，课前好多功。I was just trying to quote a Chinese proverb. And Nara, you look very young, but I know you have been you had quite a lot of experience. So right now you're teaching little kids. Have you ever taught college students as well?
Pardon?
Have you taught college students?
Yes. Last year I taught college students.
So did you have any experience in like you're teaching the same thing to different age groups? What adaptations would you make to make the teaching different?
Okay. For the university students, they have their interest and they can express more. So I should know their hobbies, their interests. Then I can organize my teaching materials to engage them. And for kids, I think the teaching content should be simple to help kids can understand the class, and also I should make the class more active and interactive when I teach small kids. Yes, that's the difference.
Okay, yeah. I'm just thinking sometimes it's really harder to teach little kids. Part of the difficulty comes from disciplining the kids. But in your videos, all the kids, they're very nice kids. They're well disciplined and they really respect the teachers and they really love sharing. So that's very, very friendly population or student population. So lucky you and lucky us. Okay, and also Professor Jin, I have one more question for you. 我要再请教这个金老师啊，因为金老师我知道，就是说您的同事，也是我们的老师，大家可能就是邵老师呢，这个金老师也非常熟悉的，邵老师呢也是个非常资深的国际中文教师。那邵老师他是有个理论的，所以那个金老师可不可以我们就是非常简约的介绍一下，就是那个邵老师那个理论，我觉得很有意思哎，叫认知功能教学法，是不是？对，而且他是把这个方法真的运用到教学里的，我觉得很有意思。帮我们介绍一下认知功能教学法，玉萍打一下到那个聊天框里。邵老师今天在大学上课，所以没有办法参加我们今天的课程。也希望以后在明年的这个教学研讨会，我们争取让邵老师在这边和我亲自讲一讲。
认知的 cognitive 认知的功能的 function 的
cognitive
认知功能教学法的 cognitive functional approach。认知人对世界的认识会反映在语言中，还有人在学习语言的时候会有主动的认知语言的特点的能力 Chomsky 的 theory。我们在教学中让学生去发现语言的规则。举个例子，我有点忘。
举个例子。
他昨天回来了。He come back yesterday. 他昨天回来的 the minimal pair, the le and the end of sentence, the particle le and the. 他昨天回来了的。他昨天回来的。有什么区别？ What's the difference？ 他昨天回来了，他昨天回来的。
事实是一样的 ，the fact is the same。
对，所以对 ，but 怎么让学生理解什么时候用他昨天回来了，他昨天回来的？那我们用 context 一个 context or speech situation， 在这个 speech situation 里面，让学生理解他昨天回来了和他昨天回来的区别的 difference 啊。For example， the question， 他昨天回来了吗 ？Yes， 他昨天回来了。对，他昨天回来了。他昨天回来了 it is news。听话人不知道他回来还是没有回来，所以问题 the question， 他昨天回来了吗？那回答他昨天回来了。OK，this is news the answer 的一个 report a news。那他什么时候回来的？他什么时候回来的？说话人知道他回来了，但是不知道什么时候回来。The focus 是 what time， 他什么时候回来的？不可以问他昨天什么时候回来的，所以他昨天什么时候回来的？说我们提供一个 context， 一个上下文的语境。question， 他回来了吗 ？Answer， 他回来了，他昨天回来了。
OK， 好的。
他什么时候回来的？他昨天回来的。昨天 is focus。is focus。So 你知道他回来，但不知道他什么时候回来，所以这个的 is focus 昨天。
OK， 谢谢李老师。就是我们这样说汉语嘛，叫博大精深呢。任何一个语言都很博大精深，所以我们那个
对比让学生这两个句子 minimal pair， 所以 minimal pair 其他都一样，只有了和的不一样，但是它们的 function 功能不一样。
好的，那我们就是把这个。请大家观察一下啊，我们把这个so we have some messages in our chat box. So our online participants, maybe if you're interested in this teaching methodology, and you can check up the expression. I think Michelle had published about this one. Okay, we have so much more to talk about, but as always, time is limited. So I guess we'll have to head back to the plenary session, but this is really just too short for the big topic about teaching Chinese more effectively, but I'm very happy that we had some very fun discussions today. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Professor Jin, especially. Thank you all so much. So we need to switch to a different meeting, right?
Yes, we would also like to thank you for your really informative presentation, also for Professor Jin's linguistic approach and more professional ideas on teaching. And also, of course, our teachers for their account of their experience in hearing